Hey all, welcome back to the channel. We're in the garage today to prep some parts for the Jeep. One of the items that got some wear on our trip to Moab was the rear bumper. We had the plastic factory bumper on there, and just coming off some of those ledges, it got some damage. So we are going to swap that out for a Motobilt steel bumper. We've got to get it out of the box here, do some prep on it, and get it ready for paint. Let's get started. I'll give you a closer look here. It is pretty oily, so we'll give it a rub down with some acetone, get some of that oil off before we prime it. So after getting some of that oil off, overall I think it looks really good. Probably going to clean up some of these welds along the bottom here, just with a flat disc on my angle grinder, and then I will go over kind of the entirety of it, inside and outside, with a conditioning pad. That's about all we're going to be able to get to for the conditioning pad. I will give it just one more wipe down now. I'll let that dry a little bit, and then we'll be ready for primer. We will blow that off, let it dry, and while it's doing that, we'll get some primer ready. So we got first coat of primer on inside and outside. I'm going to pack up while that's drying because it is dumping snow outside and I'd like to get home before it gets too dark. We will pick this up another day. Hey y'all, it's another day in the shop. I've got the bumper on the table. The last coat of primer has dried, so we have a few more coats of primer and then we will get to spraying the bed liner on. Did not bring the hardware, so Today I won't be putting the bumper on the Jeep, although I have the Wrangler with me today. I'll have to take the bumper home and get that bolted on in my driveway. We got some painting to do, so let's get started. We got the primer all dry now, and I'm just going to do the first coat of the black bed liner coating. I just use this Rust-Oleum truck bed coating. Same stuff we used on the front bumper. Also used it on the platform for the rear seat delete for the Gladiator. And pretty soon, probably this summer, I will be refinishing the front bumper on the Gladiator with this as well. Definitely not going to hold up as well as a more professional coating or a powder coating, but I really like that as we bump into stuff and scrape it, I can touch it up really easily. Just something that I don't think I'd be able to do with a powder coating. So it's not as permanent, but it's also easier to repair. First coat's been on for an hour and looks pretty good. We'll just go ahead and do another coat, and then after that's dry, I'll flip it over and do the inside. Hey y'all, just got home. Got a coat of primer on the hardware so we can hopefully get the bumper installed today. While that primer is drying, I'm going to turn the Jeep around in the driveway, get the factory bumper taken off, and then we'll take a look at getting the new bumper installed. The only thing that needed to be painted for the hardware was some really large washers, cut out a 3/16 steel. Everything else was just zinc coated nuts and bolts. So Wrangler doesn't have the factory hitch, which makes installation of an aftermarket bumper a little bit easier. We won't have to remove that hitch first. So the first two bolts that I'll remove are on the outside of the frame rail. Let's see if those are right down there. And we reuse that hardware with the aftermarket bumper. And then there'll be an extra bolt and washer that we put in for extra support on the new bumper. The other two bolts to get off are going to be in between the bumper and the muffler. So it's a bolt here, and then there's one right up on the other side, kind of right up in here. I've got these taken off already. I'm just going to now take off the bolt up higher up, and then the bumper should come right off. Here's a look at these brackets that are attached from the kind of a rear frame cross member and then up into the bumper. I would suggest doing the upper one that connects this bracket to the bumper first. I loosened the one from the cross member to the bracket first, and then this bracket kind of turned around on me as I was trying to loosen the top one. So either take the top one out first, or at least just break them all loose before removing any of the bolts. That way you don't have this bracket moving around while you're trying to loosen up the bolts. Then be careful while you're under there after you take that last bolt out, because the bumper is entirely loose and it's just resting on the rear frame cross member. factory tow hook removed, we can go ahead and get the Motobilt bumper installed. And the extra bolt and washer that Motobilt sends will go in this hole here, and then on the other side we'll use that large plate washer. After getting the extra bolt and washer on the other side, we'll just go ahead and tighten everything down. These can move around. There's not an actual small hole in the frame. It's a pretty big opening, that's why we have the large washer. So I'm going to tighten these two down first because they actually thread into the frame, and then we'll tighten these down wherever they land. All of the factory hardware is 16 millimeter, and the Motobilt provided hardware is 3/4. And that is it. Just gonna make sure that the spare tire doesn't hit the step. So overall, a really easy install. This is now the third Motobilt bumper that I've installed. Both the Wrangler and Gladiator have front bumpers. Like the others, the finishing takes probably 80% of the time. The install is really quick. They're well thought out products. All the hardware we needed was included. One negative to call out, they don't send you any instructions. You get a QR code to their website, to a page with links to all of their installation instructions. So again, really happy with the bumper. Hopefully it'll hold up to the rocks a lot more than the plastic bumper did, and gives us some extra clearance on the sides. Great product, and thanks for watching.